Hey, it's Paul here, and this is my Evo 8 MR FQ-340. This is a bit of a mixed bag video. I sort of put it together just playing around with the car and doing various things. It's a bit of a mishmash. There's a few bits that repeat. There's a couple of sections that sort of double up and stuff, so just take it with, I guess, a grain of salt. Coming out of the UK in about 2011, it's had a fully rebuilt motor done by the guys, engine tuner in the UK. In terms of the modifications for power and stuff like that, it's actually sitting pretty well. I don't think I'll modify it much more than this. And this video is really just as a, just as a demo of all the stuff that's been done to it and how it's been set up, and basically an excuse to use the GoPro. So yeah, that's it. Along in low gears. I'm in fourth, going up a hill, about 2 grand. There'll be a bit of lag, obviously in fourth gear. I step on it, it should come on. Comes on pretty quick. As you go up in the higher gears, obviously there's more lag, penalty of course. You can cruise around pretty much 3rd, 4th, 5th or 6th under 70 or 80 k's, no worries. I'm still in 4th gear doing 1800, about to go down a hill. You don't really need to change up and down a lot, but you can if you want. The gears are really short. Obviously if you thrash it, it just chews through the gears. I can't go too hard obviously because public road, all the usual bullshit. So 3rd gear, 2 grand, go down a 2nd, 2 grand, 2200. Again, this is a strokey kit, so it's obviously a bit different. So just under 2 grand, stomp it, comes up straight away. Again, 3rd gear up the hill, actually I'll go 2nd, so 2 grand. Responsive as, 3rd gear, 2 grand. Get more lag, I'll try 4th, get more lag, I'll try 5th, a bit of a laugh. More lag. Inside the MR FQ-340, probably the main things that are really different to the standard MR. The FQ series out of the UK gets a build number on the console there. This one's 238 or 400. The other ones have got slightly different build numbers. The 300s, there's 700 in total. The 320s, I think there's 400. The 340, there's a 400. And the 400, there's only 100 of those made. The 340 for some reason gets these seats. I don't know why Mitsubishi set it up like that. The 300, the 320, the 400 get the standard Recaros. The 400 had a different option for different stitching, but for some reason the 340 gets these leather Alcantara or Alcantara seats, which are pretty comfy. I think they're the same physical sort of construction, just different material, different pattern, non-slip, lightweight leather sort of composite that they've made up. The FQ-340 also gets the blue leather interior and the back seats as well. The leather's a bit different to the Australian version, also the standard MR. There's a different sort of trim of leather, so a bit hard to show on the camera, but at least it's a slightly different interior and at least a different option. Everything else is the same in regards to the interior. This being a UK spec, it's got the mystery fog light button on the dash there down the bottom, but everything else is pretty good. The bulb's been changed, Turbo Smart bulb. I think the previous owner Lachlan changed that one. It does a bit of a weird thing where it flutters at maybe sort of 2 or 3 pound. I don't know why, it's just the way the spring's set up, but it then doesn't full recirculate anything above. So under low load you'll hear it sort of, you see it'll sort of does a little bit of a flutter, but then if you bang it through the gears it does a circle back. I don't know why, it's just maybe it handles it a little bit better, I don't know. No airflow meter. The airflow meter is still there, it's still physically plugged in, but it's been disconnected. The vipec runs off a map sensor. I guess they either maxed out the airflow meter or felt it was better. Personally I prefer airflow meter all the way. Map sensor, a little bit annoying. It might muck around with the idle a little bit and the sort of the throttle transition between the gears and stuff like that. You make the same power, makes all the same shit. but the little bits in the middle of it are enough to make the difference. It might be the cams, 270-degree tomei cams, might upset the airflow meter a little bit, so that maybe that's why it's got the map sensor, or they were just maxing it out. I haven't checked what voltage it hits on the vipec off the airflow meter because it's not plugged in. The wires are there, but it's not actually running off the airflow meter, so it was always map sensor set up, so I've just left it at that, I haven't changed it. But it's still the same, just measuring air volume instead of pressure. I always prefer measuring volume. Pressure's a bit of a guesstimation program, whereas airflow meter's always volume. So if you have a choice, go for the airflow meter. But like I said, the airflow meter's still physically in the intake, so by switching to map sensor, they haven't removed any sort of restriction. It might just be that they're maxing out the airflow meter at 4 or 5 volts or whatever. So you can argue which way you want that it's a restriction, but it's, on my car it's still there. Just while I'm driving, I can't actually see the speed that I'm doing. This has got the binary engineering brackets lowered, and I still can't see the speedo. I bought a Pexi RSM just because it's a shitload easier. I can't see the speedo. All I can see is pretty much where I'm sitting, and this is no exaggeration, all I can see is pretty much 20, 30, 40, and then maybe 220, 240, 260. I can't see the bits in the middle. I mean, I know what sort of speed I'm doing. I mean, you can look at the other cars and tell. But in terms of the sitting position in the steering wheel, I can't see, 50 to 190, which is okay. It is a little bit annoying. I bought the rev speed meter because I want to do 0 to 100, and it is good to know what sort of speed you're doing and stuff like that as well. But yeah, in terms of looking at the speedo, I can't see the freaking anywhere in the middle. So, and that's a bit of a criticism on the Evo. Some people pisses them off. The TD05 16G6C, it's basically the largest Evo 9 equivalent standard frame. It's a hybrid from the guys in the UK. Really responsive. It's running the standard boost in the Evo, not the Evo 8 at 19 pound. It pretty much gets 19 pound instantly. There's pretty much fuck all lag, unless you're doing stupid shit like 50 k's at 6 gear. It's really responsive. 4th gear, 2 grand, 19 pounds straight away. So yeah, really responsive. I'm glad that the previous owners didn't put a GD30 or a freaking TD06 because they just kind of kills the drive and the ride. I'd much prefer responsive, reasonable power through every gear rather than making 350 kilowatts at 6.5 grand, because you just can't use the power, and when you can use it, you're just going to get arrested and earn law bullshit. So it's just not worth it. Much prefer reasonable gearing, reasonable power band. And this combo is fucking perfect. It's 2.3 litre. It's got all the usual stuff done to it. 270-degree cams, all the normal stuff. So really responsive, plenty of power. I think it only makes about 240 at all 4. Doesn't make spastic amounts of power. Only runs 19 pound. There's I guess information on the forums about crunching gears when cold and all that sort of crap. The previous owner Lachlan said to me it'll crunch in second when it's cold. I've been lucky, I haven't had it crunch not once. I reversed in my driveway, and by the time I get to the end of the driveway, it's, I wouldn't say warmed up, but the gearing's, I don't know, maybe it's at enough temperature to not crunch or avoid that crunch issue. It doesn't crunch at all. I've never crunched this gearbox. My last car in the Skyline, you could thrash the absolute crap out of the gearbox, you could smash every gear, didn't have a problem. So that's how I sort of learned how to, not drive, but how to treat the gearbox. And coming to this, I guess the Evos and the WRXs are a bit picky in terms of, you'll break third, break fourth, whatever. I think if you treat them normally, change your fluids, don't do stupid shit, I think you'll get some good life out of the gearboxes. I haven't had it crunch once, and it's 4-wheel drive and all the usual shit. I haven't really done the launch control, 7 grand off the clutch. Kind of a bit afraid to blow shit up or break something, or I just haven't really ventured into it. It's turned on. When you sit there and step on it at when you're idle. The ECU, the vipec's linked up to the speedo, so basically under 0 kilometers an hour, it'll spark, cut and shoot flames. It brings up the boost pretty much straight away, which is always a good laugh, and it basically backfires and pops its ass off. I'm pretty sure it'd shoot flames. I haven't checked it yet, but I reckon it would. And yeah, it definitely builds up to pressure, no worries. The TD05 is twin scroll, the manifolds, all the normal stuff. So yeah, it's really responsive. It's got bigger cams, cam gears. So in terms of the response for launch control, this thing would be fucking perfect. It's got heavy duty clutch, twin plate, different flywheel. It's got some pretty good tyres on it. So yeah, the previous owners that have set it up, there was at least 2 owners in the UK, and there was a guy in Sydney, Lachlan, who did a few things as well, and they've pretty much done it fucking perfect. Suspension's good, stereo is awesome, all the mods are sweet, everything's been dialed in. It was a little bit grumpy with the idle, the hot start and the cold start. I don't know why, just done stupid shit. I updated the firmware in the vipec, that seemed to knock off the cold start one. But I've noticed sometimes on the hot start, when I crank it after being hot, it'll sort of fluctuate a little bit and then sometimes almost stall. I've mucked around with the vipec settings a little bit, try and sort of keep it a bit happier and try and sort of give it a bit more fuel and a bit more air. It's still not perfect, but in terms of the setup, it works pretty well. Other stuff that I've sort of gone and fixed up, all the wipers in the front deck was all faded and all the paint had been chipped away and stuff like that. I mean, it's come from the UK, it's been in a bit of snow, so you know, who knows what sort of weather it's gone through. So I replaced all the wipers, the front deck, the control arms, all the plastic trim, the weather shield. I think it probably cost me, it would be at least $400 in parts, I reckon, give or take. The deck garnishes were at least 60 to 70 each. The weather strip was another 30. The plastic clips for the wipers were another 28 each. The wipers were $50 each. The wiper blades were another $40 each. And then you factor in a bit of labour as well. So yeah, it's going to be, you know, $300 or $400 by the time you do it. But it just made the car look sort of a bit more back to normal, back to OEM spec. It looked sort of a bit tired and a bit faded, which kind of pissed me off a little bit. So I thought I might as well just replace it all. You can respray it, you can powder coat them, you can colour code them, you can do whatever you want. I just didn't want to deal with, you know, going through all that sort of labour, so I just thought I'd just buy it on new. Obviously the cheaper way would have been to just pop them off and just respray them at home. You could even just respray them with some sort of black enamel paint and you'd get away with it. But in terms of that brand new OEM finish, that's what I went for. So that's probably, you know, if people are wondering why did I do that, you know, why would you bother? I did it because I just want to try and freshen this car up and bring it back to how it was when it was new. It was made in 2004. You know, it's 11 years on now. I'm trying to sort of, you know, not dial out the power to anything crazy, but just enjoy the car and keep it sort of that, you know, clean, new spec sort of thing. The turning circle on these things sucks. It's like driving a Mack truck. I'm going to struggle to do a U-turn in this court. Absolutely woeful. Fucking woeful. Bit of reading, the steering mechanism on the Evos is geared for, you know, turning at 200 and all that sort of crap. Yeah, cool. But it still doesn't full lock very well, so you've got to do that half-assed U-turn. I guess it's something you just deal with. Most Evo owners are kind of aware of it, just sort of get over it. It doesn't worry me too much, but it's that typical Top Gear video. It is annoying, it is stupid, but yeah, you're just going to have to deal with it.